I never thought that oyi kimchi or cucumber kimchi would be the center of so much controversy. I know, cultural appropriation in food is admittedly a tricky issue, and some people think it just doesn't even exist. But imagine if your family owned a small bakery, one filled with all the delicious breads and cakes your grandma made when you were little, and there was a chain bakery across the street, one that spent a good chunk of its seven-figure marketing budget telling everyone how strange and gross your bakery is. It hurts your business, it hurts your feelings, but you stick to it and keep making and selling what you love. And then, a few years later, all of a sudden, the chain bakery starts making a cheap knockoff of the very same breads and cakes they used to tell everyone was disgusting. And because their budget is 1,000 times larger than yours, they're able to outsell you. And what's worse, their breads and cakes don't taste nearly as good as your own, but now, because so many people are eating the knockoffs, they've been misled into thinking this lesser version is the way it should taste. And as you shutter your doors and file for bankruptcy, you start to wonder, if I can't compete with chain bakery making watered down versions, what's going to happen in 10, 20, 50 years? Will grandma's breads and cakes still even exist, or will they get lost between big dollar budgets and the reach of those who have always had more? I know what you're thinking. This is an exaggeration, but that's the point. In law, we're taught to apply a concept to the most exaggerated scenario in order to derive the rule, because it's those rules that prevent these exaggerated hypotheticals from ever happening. But as a cookbook author and recipe developer of Korean descent, I can tell you this is not an exaggeration. It's frustrating when I see non-Asian cookbook authors creating watered-down versions of Korean food who sell more books, who get more views, who derive far greater profit margins than those who've spent their whole lives eating and cooking Korean food, including those people who've made fun of us for eating that food simply because they were born with greater resources. It's also very frustrating to see non-Korean food bloggers chop up their kimchi with a knife because it's easier without taking the time to understand why we use our hands to tear the leaves, why we roll them into tight packages before pressing them down into our kimchi jars instead of chopping them up into bite-sized pieces. That so much gets lost with the mass proliferation of culture when neophytes masquerade as experts. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't care what you make in your own kitchen. I also don't care if you mix and match and try new things, and I don't particularly care whether something is authentic or not. Bottom line, cultural appropriation, i.e., when certain persons or groups leverage their privilege to profit off the sale of someone else's culture without commensurate compensation, results in less delicious food. Period.